Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at starting a Thousand Suns army in Warhammer 40,000. This video is sponsored by the Game Bunker. More on that later. Starting a Thousand Suns army in Warhammer 40,000. Everything you need to know from painting to lore. Alright, so the Thousand Suns just got a brand new Codex, a new battle force, a new combat patrol. So for a lot of people, this is the perfect point to jump off with. So let's take a detailed look at the Thousand Suns. Thousand Suns, the chosen of Tzeentch. Even before they threw off their allegiance to the Emperor and embraced the gifts of chaos, the sons of the Primarch Magnus the Red was steeped in sorcerous power. Their limitless curiosity and innate psychic gifts made them natural wielders of the writhing energies of the warp, and now their bond with the chaos god Tzeentch has transformed them into the greatest cabal of sorcerers in the galaxy. They are the Thousand Suns, matchless magicians whose depth of knowledge is second only to their mastery of the Imperium. Their endless quest for ancient secrets reeks a technicolor path of destruction from one end of the Imperium to the other, twisting mortal men into unholy abominations and scouring the earth with blasts of spectral flame. Here's everything you need to know if you're thinking of starting an army of these enigmatic enchanters. 1. Thousand Suns Explained. Like the World Eaters, Death Guard, and Emperor's Children, the Thousand Suns are one of the original Space Marine legions that rebelled against the Emperor's tyranny. Though unlike the others, their fall came before War Master Horus declared his war against the Imperium. Magnus the Red, the Primarch of the Thousand Suns, has used his immense psychic power to try to warn the Emperor of the impending schism, but in doing so, broken accord against the use of the warp and the Space Wolves sent to bring him to Terra in chains. Through misunderstanding and manipulation, the Space Wolves instead laid waste to their homeworld of Prospero, devastating the Legion and forcing a few survivors into the warp. There, on the planet of sorcerers, they began to rapidly mutate. And once the Horus Heresy concluded, a small cabal led by Chief Librarian Azek Ahriman sought out a solution to this renewed curse. The spell he and his disciples cast succeeded in preventing the flesh change from corrupting his Legion, but at an unimaginable price. The Librarians of the Legion had their psychic abilities increased tenfold, but those warriors of little or no psychic ability had their body crumbled to dust, while their spirit remained locked inside their armor. Now the dreaded Rubric Marines, those unfortunate souls who were reduced to mindless automatons, are enthralled to the will of the remaining sorcerers. Following this failure, Magnus banished Ahriman's cabal, who spread out across the stars in search of powerful artifacts and ancient forbidden knowledge to try and reverse the curse. This disastrous change only heightened the Legion's reliance on ranged weapons and powerful psychic abilities in combat. Sorcerers supported by elite groups of rubric infantry, terminators, and hordes of demonic allies. Though they've been known to use many of the armored assets common to the Chaos Space Marine warbands, such as Hellbrutes and Land Raiders, they are rare, and what few serve under the banner of Magnus are infrequently maintained. As a result of their pact with Tzeentch and their frequent manipulation of the warp, demons are a common sight on their assaults. Screamers and flamers whirl down from rift-riven skies, and pink and blue horrors bound across the ground, hurling gouts of Imperium flame between the legs of the towering Lords of Change. These allies are far more expendable, and often prone to their own eccentricities, but nonetheless valuable additions to an armored march of Rubric Marines. On the battlefield, the Thousand Suns prefer to keep their distance and whittle their foes down with firepower and psychic might rather than get stuck in bloody melee, where their all-important sorcerers are far too vulnerable. Their hollow nature makes Rubricae a naturally resilient bulwark, each able to absorb more punishment than a regular Space Marine, while encircled rounds spat from their Inferno bolters punch right through the thickest armor, far more than a regular bolt gun. The Sons of Magnus the Red supplement the lockstep advance of Rubric Marines with devious tricks and inventive plays, with each of their detachments giving players plenty of enhancements and stratagems to favorably twist fate. It's a rare game that a magical blast doesn't turn an orc to ash or sap the life from an Eldari, and if a guile doesn't get you all the way, you can always deploy Magnus himself to seal victory with his brute force and overwhelming psychic might. A Thousand Suns army will appeal to players who love to make plans, break plans, and then claim everything all worked out regardless of the outcome. Their armies provide a fantastic mix of durability and hitting power, coupled with an even more elite feel than regular Chaos Space Marines, which is backed up by a whole sack full of tricks and beautifully ornate miniatures. Alright, so we have Part 2, Combat Patrol. Combat Patrol is a game mode perfect for beginners and veterans alike, in which smaller forces clash in a fast-paced, balanced games. The Thousand Suns bring a versatile force to the table, bursting with magical power, with battlefield rituals that guide the attacks of allies or propel warriors toward their foes in great temporal surge. The Prism of Zenathal are led by their eponymous Demon Prince, one of the most powerful single miniatures in Combat Patrol format. His immense durability and powerful attacks make him the natural centerpiece of your force, surrounded by loyal cadre of Rubric Marines and their attendant aspiring sorcerer. Alright, so here we can see the brand new Combat Patrol. So you've got the Demon Prince, you've got 3 Tzaangor Enlightened, you've got 10 Rubric Marines, and then you also have a Tzaangor Shaman on disc. So nice little setup right here. A brand new box that just came out. Very powerful Demon Prince. Very durable Rubric Marines. And then you've got some fast Tzaangors led by a Sorcerer. So nice box set right here. Great starting point for any Thousand Suns army. On the swifter side, the Tzeentch blessed Zangor Shaman Kasharak commands his own psychic abilities from atop a floating disc, flanked by 3 elite Zangor Enlightened who spear foes with zipping around on the battlefield on a never-ending hunt for knowledge. All you need to deploy the Prism of Zenathal is a few dice, a ruler, and the downloadable rules below. The core rules show you how to play the game, the Combat Patrol datasheets provide a balanced army that's ready to play, and Combat Patrol missions give you some thrilling objectives to fight over. Now a quick word from today's sponsor, Game Bunker. Game Bunker carries a full range of Games Workshop products including miniatures, terrain, paint, tools, and more. Game Bunker offers 15% off MSRP for most Games Workshop products with the discount code WHMS. Receive free shipping in the continental United States on orders over $145. Online orders ship out within 24 hours. Game Bunker is a veteran-owned business. Use affiliate link below, enter discount code WHMS to save 15% on most items at checkout. For fast, friendly service with a discount on your favorite tabletop wargaming purchases, visit GameBunker.net and let them know that Warhammer Man sent you. Part 3. Painting. The Thousand Sons are most frequently armored in vibrant blue battleplate with intricate gold details, but the fragmented nature of their modern-day legions means warbands are often adorned in kaleidoscopic colors as befits the ever-shifting whims of Tzeentch. Silent squads of rubric marines often fight in whatever state their mercurial leaders last left them in, worn and weathered as their masters concentrate on far greater concerns, but they are equally likely to march gleaming and colorful into the next battle as a show of the sorcerer's importance. To help ease your miniatures into the battlefield with a simple, achievable color scheme that works across a wide variety of units, the Warhammer 40,000 painting team have put together a list of paints for 1,000 Suns found in Combat Patrol box. So we have the Citadel colors recommended paints. We have 1,000 Suns Blue, Everland Sunset, Nullen Oil, and Drakenhof Nightshade. Then we have Lead Belcher, Grey Seer, Agrax Earthshade, and Abaddon Black. And then we have Screamer Pink, Retributor Armor, Cyberite Green, and Agrilian Earth. This is by no means an exhaustive primer. However, you're fully encouraged to come up with your own 1,000 Suns color schemes. In fact, such is Tzeentch's aversion to stasis and routine that is entirely appropriate for elements of your army to sport wildly different colors to their comrades. Part 4. Next steps. Once you have a few Combat Patrol games under your belt and you're ready to bend the shackles of fate to your will, you might be wondering where to go next. The first stop is Codex 1,000 Suns, the essential companion to the faction, containing plenty of background lore and showcase of gorgeously painted miniatures, as well as rules for 34 different units and plenty of different ways to play them. Together with a copy of Warhammer 40,000 core book, you'll have all the rules you need to start playing full-size games of Warhammer 40,000. The Combat Patrol provides a great selection of units that give you powerful leaders, dependable infantry, and speedy skirmishers, so adding a hard core of hard-hitting elites is a great first step. Scarab Occult Terminators excel at punching through heavy armor with a mixture of Inferno Combi Bolters and crackling Prospering Kopeshes, backed up by heavy firepower of Soul Reefer Cannons and Hellfire Missile Racks. Sekar robots are infused with sigils of obfuscation and left to guard sites where fate has grand design, standing silent vigil until enemy movements activate their programming. Then the durable sentinels open up with a sudden barrage that can wipe entire squads from the battlefield in moments under a hail of Empiric missiles and searing flame. So here we can see the Scarab Occult Terminators and then the Sekar robots, as well as some Zangors. Herds of Zangors are a great way to bulk out your body count with cheaper but still perfectly capable shock troops armed with vicious chain blades and the ability to slip away from the battlefield before returning when your opponent least expects it. Codex 1,000 Suns also includes rules for adding a colorful contingent of demons to your army, when Tzeentch's watchful eye graces your efforts. Yours isn't just another warband plying the galaxy for secrets. It's an assemblage of Legion's finest, and so the presence of Magnus the Red is foregone conclusion. The Primarch is nothing short of the greatest psychic warrior in the galaxy, sweeping entire squads off the table with the swing of his enormous staff, while heroes, tanks, and rampaging monsters all wither into desiccated husks under his shape-twisting gaze. So here we can see Magnus the Red, obviously a beautiful model, and then an absolute legend on the tabletop, the Primarch of the 1,000 Suns, and a beautiful centerpiece for your army. We also have Kairos Fateweather and the Mutalith Vortex Beast. When the time for complex strategies is over and you just need something smashed really hard, the insanity-inducing Mutalith Vortex Beast can switch between slaughtering infantry and crushing tanks on a whim, and even getting near it is a lethal hazard for your opponent. Should your sorcerers summon demons to aid them, there's no finer general for the personal cohorts of Tzeentch than Kairos Fateweather, greatest of the Lords of Change. His twin heads simultaneously look backwards and forwards at the flow of time, giving him a masterful knack for strategy backed up by the overwhelming magical might. Part 5. Fiction. You'd be forgiven for thinking that a Chaos Space Marine Legion populated almost entirely by silent, soulless automatons would be a rather light lip when it comes to the stories. But luckily, the 1,000 Suns have one of the most dynamic and entertaining Black Library characters on their side, Ahriman. The former Chief Librarian of the 15th Legion has spent uncountable years searching for a way to reverse the calamity he visited upon his brothers, and his quest spans both time and space, taking him from the far corners of the galaxy to the mysterious Eldari webway. The tale begins as the exiled Ahriman lurks disguised amongst a marauding warband, only for a mysterious voice to draw him back into action, Armin exiled by John French. His continued search drives him towards the fabled Adenium of Callimachus, purported to contain the very same words as the legendary Book of Magnus, in Armin Sorcerer. Then it all comes to a head in Armin Unchanged, as after long years of preparation, he is finally ready to attempt the ritual that should spell an end to the Legion's hollow existence. You can get all 3 of these books bound together in Armin the Omnibus, and the Supreme Sorcerer's adventures don't end there. A further 2 books by John French continue his adventures, Armin Eternal and Armin Undying, while the wealth of short stories and audiobooks give you more to read than the average Thousand Sons sorcerer. And then we have part 6, Start Your Collection. So we can see the Combat Patrol, the Codex, Magnus, and then of course we have the full range to expand out to a full 2,000 point army. So Thousand Sons, obviously very cool. We saw Tzeentch featured in the Space Marine 2 video game, which has drawn a lot of new players into them. We got a brand new Codex. We have a beautiful model range, absolutely loaded with vibrant colors and awesome lore. Definitely never been a better time to start a Thousand Sons army than now. So let me know down in the comments what makes you want to play Thousand Sons. If you're thinking about starting an army or expanding on your existing army, always like to hear back from you guys in the comments. And as always, special thanks to the Game Bunker for sponsoring the channel. Check out the link in the description to save 15% on most Games Workshop products with code WHMS at checkout. Warhammer Man Studios, I'm Warhammer Man, and the Thousand Sons are absolutely awesome. And I'm out of here.